going to conferences all the time is the main driver for progress in your skill set and also your relationship, and basically any professional can become a better professional by attending conferences.
It's not the standard, okay? It's a movie theater, but the visual is great and the sound is great, and I've seen a lot of room and space, and I think it's organized well.
Seeing all the people here today and they're excited about stuff, and you can see the energy and the desire to learn and do new things.
And I was positively surprised about the depth, the technical depth of the sessions, and how that makes the tester part of the team.
I think developers do benefit from coming to QA conferences, just the same as testers can benefit from going to dev conferences. You've got to have a broad understanding of what's going on.
It's really inclusive. I would say it's super diverse. People are really open and friendly, and it's really organized.
Conferences are well worthwhile just for the ideas that they spark in people. When people come back to the office, they're full of ideas and they're all energized up.
Hello and welcome. Don't miss the train. Test automation is finally growing up. I'm really happy that you decide to join my talk about trends in test automation. My name is Marcel Veselka, and I am software testing consultant at company TestCon, and I am happy to share my ideas and also results of my research with you. But before that, I would like to start setting up the scene by telling you what is going on in IT. IT is changed probably since it starts, but nowadays there are special things we should consider when we are talking about testing. So what are the changes now in IT which influence testing? So first, investments still grow. Last year, companies spent more than $3.7 trillion in IT, which would be enough for more than 50 years for Czech citizens to live out of this. Second, spending in IT moving from hardware into software investments more and more, and nowadays investments into software are bigger than into hardware. And the third, IT itself is the driver of all the businesses out there, or almost all the businesses out there. Everything is running on the software, and the companies are trying to compete via quality and speed. So what are the impacts of these specifics on testing? First, expectation. Quality is now responsibility of entire team instead of testers only. There are no silos. Testers are part of product teams. Apart from standard functional or integration testing, we are becoming more universal testers where we cover also performance or security. Companies adopting Agile and DevOps and trying to improve and reshape their organization. Market is moving by many acquisitions. Big players are trying to become even bigger and offer end-to-end solutions. A lot of disruption is coming from the new ideas like AI and machine learning, blockchain testing, and RPA. All these initiatives are driven by motivation to become quicker, cheaper, and deliver better quality. But for these, test automation might be also helpful. So see on the next slides I'm delivering within this talk, what is the current status of test automation and what are the trends? So what's the current status of test automation? Let me answer via three different reports. First, Accelerate State of DevOps from 2018. The report claimed that elite DevOps teams perform only 10% of the testing manually. Second interesting report says that last year companies spent more than 12 billion US dollars in test automation, and this will grow by 5 years into 28 billion US dollars, which then becomes more than half of the investments in testing. It means automation will basically eat manual testing or testing as such. And third, KPMG and NASCOM made some research, some survey, and asked various companies what is their level of test automation. And answer was that for more than 34% of organization, that they have more than 50% of their testing already automated, and only 5% of companies claimed that there is no automation at all on their side. So what are the trends in test automation? If we know where we are now, we understand that organizations already adapt automation. Now let's look at trends. I think there are many ideas which are just reshaped, improved, rebuilt, and trying to make it happen on the market. Then the other trends, or maybe we could call it focus area, companies are trying to fix or reduce the pain of scale. They already know that the test automation might be a solution for many situations, but it also introduces a lot of pain. So the second focus is on fixing these pains. The third one I see as a big trend is trying to implement AI and machine learning, which might actually address the pain of scale, but not only. Let me share some more details later within this area. And the fourth, there are many small ideas, as I mentioned, in testing, in test automation, it's the same case. We have a lot of ideas which are trying to popping up and then scale. Some are successful, some are dying as we go. For the old ideas coming back, focus or trend, I select a few where I feel that there might be some results, there might be some opportunity for us to follow and implement these things. And I split it into several ideas. First, maybe you already saw this picture, pretty old one, more than 5 years or 5 years old picture. And this shows just Android device fragmentation. How many devices are there and how quickly within 1 year might change. And the size of the rectangle means the market share of that particular device. You might see it's changing rapidly. To test this, you might need a lot of tooling and also right approach and strategy. For that, we are still working on the idea of containers, simulators, and cloud. And this is actually a pretty old idea, but within that area, there are still a lot of new topics and new approaches popping up. Somebody might say this is nothing new, but I believe GraphQL will grow, and we need to be ready to cover and address how we will test it. Containers like Docker or Kubernetes are growing as well, and I believe this is also one of the opportunity where the companies or we as individuals might focus, so we will be ready once this might become mainstream. And of course, a lot of cloud services are nowadays used by companies, and I believe focusing and understanding how this solution works will help us in the future. On the other hand, if you don't feel like cloud services are the right one for you because it's too low level, there are also some other options which are providing already built cloud solutions, especially in area of simulating devices or multi-platform testing or multi-configuration testing. You might find a lot of solutions from companies like SourceLab, BrowserStack, or cross-browser testing, and many others. So I believe the opportunity and move will be within these old new ideas, and I believe these companies will fight to win as much as possible on the market and increase their market share in next months. The other kind of old idea, which is trying to survive or come back maybe, is record and play approach. A few years ago, Selenium IDE was rewritten, and there was a lot of interesting features implemented within that recorder. And you might find also some other solution, which is in this case commercial, from Parasoft, which is called Selenium, and this company is also trying to offer some record and play functionality. But these are just two. You might find a lot other. Almost any commercial tool offer record and play, and you might notice that within these solutions there are a few interesting concepts which might bring the record and play approach back into game again. The other kind of old idea is a discussion about Selenium era. Is it over? Maybe write your comments or write into the comments your opinions. But in this case, many other companies and open source projects and initiatives popping up to say, yes, we are better than Selenium. We'll see whether these guys will be lucky and win the fight. Pain of scale. Many companies already automate, and the next issue they need to deal with is how to reduce the pain of scale. And for that, I decided to focus on two interesting concepts. One is intelligent test execution, and the other one is maintenance. For the intelligent test execution, the approach is very simple. You are trying to execute when it is needed and what is most relevant. In past, we start with manual test execution of automated test by executing it by opening testing tool and running the tests. Later, we set up some regular schedulers, and nowadays we execute tests based on trigger which comes from change, like commit to the repository. On the other hand, we are trying to select the proper scope. In the past, we often run full scope, then we try to manually select by tagging the tests, and nowadays there are tools which helps you to select the right tests or the tests which will mostly fail by applying some statistical methods or AI and machine learning if you wish. So this is for me intelligent test execution or test execution intelligence. You run the tests which are most relevant when it is relevant. The other concept which I feel it's trendy and I believe it has a huge potential in the future is self-healing tests. Self-healing tests are the tests with the ability to update themselves during test execution or after test execution. And how it works? You need to have several features implemented within the tool to be able to self-heal your tests. First is the dealing with locators. You need to be able to fix your locators, or you need to be able to adapt your interaction to the changes of your application. For that, you might have a dynamic, or sometimes we call them intelligent locators, where you know how to interact with the app, and if the edit box changed, you are able to easily adapt your test automatically. Then you need to have some assessment tools or feature within your tool, which helps you improve your maintenance by more advanced reporting and also dynamic assertions. And the third feature of that self-healing approach is code update. If you would be interested in more application, you might find two tools on the market. One is Selenium, and the second one is Selenium. I already mentioned today. These two tools already implement some parts of this self-healing approach. Now let's start focus on AI and machine learning. And I'll try to skip all these high-level assumptions, re-explaining how it works and all the other things. And I will focus on my top opportunities in AI and machine learning. And you might experience the same test automation pains as we do, but nowadays test automation is often criticized that it's still manual with bad coverage. It's inefficient, slow, and expensive in many areas. So how to make it better? How to leverage and benefit from AI and machine learning? Where it could bring the benefits now? How to fix this kind of flakiness and inefficiency of that? So I would like to share just a few ideas where I feel we are pretty close to implement it within every test automation practice. So these are my top opportunities applying AI and machine learning. First, scripting and maintenance. Imagine that we would generate a test. Instead of writing test scripts, we would be able to generate them, uploading the user stories into some machine, and you would get the test script. And this is not just a dream. There are already some small prototypes where you just provide some description and machine learning model generate the rest. If you are interested in more details, this is example from OpenAI project, so you can easily Google more details. The second, imagine that we are more efficient in navigating across the app. We could much easier and more intelligent way interact with the app. We are able to re-execute and self-heal our tests. And for that, I think Test AI has already some solution, which is open source, and you can try it for mobile test automation using APM driver. You can find it out on GitHub. And third, the result analysis and reporting. You might maybe know that if you have hundreds or thousands of scripts and they start failing, you will find out after some time that it's not easy to analyze what's going on, what are the issues, and so on. But for that, you might try Report Portal IO, where this classification might be automated as well. So you can easily find out that this failure is because your middleware is not running. Or you might easily find out that this is automation bug, so you shouldn't bother your developers with that. And this is a tool which learns from your manual assessment and using machine learning. And after some time, it assesses the results by itself. So these are my 3 top opportunities in AI and machine learning implementation. But for a few of you guys, maybe this is not good enough. Maybe this is not visionary enough. So that's why I have one more extra slide. If AI and machine learning will start work, this will happen. Test automation will become autonomous. We will not need anybody to deal with testing at all. I don't believe that's so easy, but if you are searching for some visionary idea, this might be interesting for you. So let's now focus on the last set of ideas, the other opportunities. First, we often think about test automation as a process where we automate test execution, and via automating these manual steps, we're saving a lot of efforts. But imagine that you would try to automate entire testing, not only test execution. And for that, I found very interesting idea, which is continuous testing, and many modern companies are already adopting it, even they don't call it as a continuous testing. And within this approach or this idea, we are trying to automate all the testing stages or all the activities which might improve the quality of your products. So apart from dynamic test execution, which is often automated, we also introducing static analysis tools and scanners earlier in a stage of development where the developers program the product. But also we are introducing a lot of monitoring and phased deployment approaches, which give us more confidence in production to deploy product even without heavy testing before. For that, we are running a lot of workshops at Tesena. So if you are interested, I am happy to share some details and show you demos. But I believe this is a topic probably you already heard about, or if not, I would really suggest to explore the idea. The second idea within the others is chaos engineering. The approach was introduced by Netflix in 2011. They already start to build up the microservice architecture, and they were searching for solution how to test the resilience of the infrastructure. So by applying some tools, they were trying to destroy the environments and find out how the environments might recover from that kind of attacks. And nowadays, surprisingly, there is more than 20 tools which could be used for chaos engineering. So if you're interested, just Google it. And the last one within that other ideas, I select RPA, or Robotic Process Automation. And this is probably the second most innovative idea in IT after AI and machine learning. recognized by Gartner, which is basically nothing else than test automation in production plus a bit of business analysis. But many companies are trying to step into this topic because there is a big potential, and now it's pretty sexy. So now my talk is coming to the end. It's time to summarize. Test automation are already grown up into the stage that we could all benefit out of it. And I was trying to share with you some trends which I group into 4 different areas. And I believe it inspires you. I am pretty excited about the fact that we are coming into an era where we will need to optimize and scale up all these ideas to make it even better. So don't miss the train. Test automation is already ready to help us all. Thank you for watching and listening. If you have any question, I'm open to talk after my presentation, or you can contact me via LinkedIn for further discussion. Thank you and bye.